So, hello there, and welcome back to another Night of the Movies video. I'm, of course, Spike Knight, and in these videos, I love talking about things, movies and TV, and whatever I want, whenever I want. And in today's video, I am reviewing Now You See Me, Now You Don't. So, let's get into it, shall we? Now You See Me, Now You Don't is the third film in this franchise, and it was currently in cinemas, which feels weird to say because it was 9 years ago that we got the last Now You See Me installment, and then it was, let's see if I can do some maths off the top of my head. I'm never that good at maths. It was about 12 years ago, if I got my maths correct. Yes, 12 years ago that we got the first Now You See Me installment. The first Now You See Me installment came out in 2013. And I remember watching that film for the first time. It was on like Channel 4 one day. And I ended up really enjoying it. And bear in mind, I was at a much younger age then, but it was the sort of film I wanted to watch at the time. And yeah, I thought the first Now You See Me was really good. Now, I haven't seen it in quite a bit of time, but again, when I first watched it, I ended up enjoying it a lot more than I thought I was going to, and I also ended up watching it quite a few times, and again, I haven't seen it for a good few years now, though. But then we had Now You See Me 2, which came out in 2016, and the less said about Now You See Me 2, the better. I didn't think it was terrible, but it was unbelievable, and not in a good way at all. And I honestly didn't think there would ever be another Now You See Me film after Now You See Me 2. But here I am in 2025, we're getting towards 2026, and stranger things have happened. Yes, we are here in 2025, and a new Now You See Me film is here as well. And this new Now You See Me film has Ruben Fleischer, hopefully pronounced his name correctly, apologies if I didn't, who directed the first Now You See Me film, didn't direct the second, but he directed the first, returning in the director's chair for this film. He has also directed the likes of Zombieland, which I enjoy quite a bit, but he also directed Venom, which I am not a fan of at all, and Uncharted, which I thought was quite terrible. But he directed the first Now You See Me film, so when I heard that he was directing this one, I was like, oh, maybe it can be that in that sort of enjoyable popcorn entertainment of the first film. Maybe it can bring that back with this film. And also returning in this movie, returning for this film, are the original cast from the first Now You See Me. You have all the cast, which includes Jesse Eisenberg, Dave Franco, Isla Fisher, Woody Harrelson, and Morgan Freeman. Notwithstanding Michael Caine, who was in the first film, is not in this film because he's retired from acting. But yes, Jesse Eisenberg, Dave Franco, Isla Fisher, Woody Harrelson, and Morgan Freeman, they all return in this film. And you also have some other returning stars from the rest of the franchise as well, which I'm not going to spoil in case people are looking forward to seeing this movie and they haven't seen it yet. This is a spoiler-free review. But yes, we've got the main cast from the original, from the first Now You See Me film coming back, and you also have some newcomers. You have Dominic Sessa, who became famous from The Holdovers a couple of years ago, which he was brilliant in. If you've not seen The Holdovers, by the way, check it out. It's Christmas. It's one of those films that you will not forget about anytime soon. I really need to watch that film again. And Dominic Sessa is terrific in it, and he's one of the newcomers in this film. Justice Smith, who I've seen a couple of things here and there. He's also one of the newcomers to the franchise in this film. And Ariana Greenblatt, who seems to be having this meteoric rise, is also one of the newcomers as well. You know, she was one of the main stars of Barbie. She's just been in a Star Wars TV show. She was in Avengers Infinity War, which is one of the biggest films of the past decade. You know, she's been in loads. Stuff that I'm forgetting about at the top of my head. Oh, she was in Borderlands as well. Well, the less said about that, the better. But she seems to be having this meteoric rise, and that continues with her role in this film. And I'll be honest, I was interested in watching this film, but I wouldn't say I was excited about it. I swear a couple of years ago, well, maybe not a couple of years ago, but a good few years ago now, because this film's been in development for a long time. Bear in mind, the last Now You See Me film came out 9 years ago, if I've got my dates correct, and I think I do. So yeah, this film's been in development for a very long time, and I swear Benedict Cumberbatch was rumored to play the villain in this film at one point. I could have sworn I read that. When I heard that, I was like, oh, he would make a good villain in this franchise. I want to see the film where Benedict Cumberbatch is the villain. But that's not this film. Rosamund Pike, who's a good actor, I really like Rosamund Pike. I've liked her ever since What We Do on Our Holiday and Gone Girl, both of which she did in the same year. Very, very different movies in which she plays very different roles, but you know, she's great in both of them. Yeah, I like Gone Girl. I've liked Rosamund Pike for quite a bit of time, so I'm fine with her being the villain. I just kind of wish it was Benedict Cumberbatch. So, yes, you have her coming in as the villain in this film, which, I'm gonna be honest, didn't really excite me. I was like, can she pull off a villain role? Again, really good actress, but can she pull off playing a villain? And then I saw the trailer to the film, and I was like, it kind of looks like The Flogging a Dead Horse. That's what it felt like to me. And that's coming from someone who likes The First Now You See Me. I don't think it's great or anything, but I like it. And so, yeah, the trailers didn't sell me. I wasn't in love with who they cast as the villain, but I had hope, and I was interested in seeing it because I liked the first film, and I wanted to see these actors return to play these characters. And there is something in watching these actors in anything. You know, I've enjoyed watching all these actors separately in different films they've been in, so I was looking forward to seeing them again together in this film. So yes, I was interested in this film, but I wasn't particularly excited about it. Still, I went to the cinema to go and watch this film yesterday. And according to Google, I just hit my hand there on the table, according to Google, the plot synopsis of this film goes as follows. The Four Horsemen, played by Jesse Eisenberg, Isaac Fisher, Dave Franco, and Woody Harrelson, and a new generation of illusionists, Dominic Caesar, Justice Smith, and Ariana Greenblatt, try to bring down a worldwide criminal network. Yes, that's a Google plot synopsis of this film. Four Horsemen and a new generation of illusionists try to bring down a worldwide criminal network. And that's pretty much all I need to know about this film before seeing it. And honestly, this film was pretty much what I expected it to be. It wasn't terrible. I didn't hate this film, not at all. I mean, there've been some blockbusters I've hated over the past couple of years, but I actually came out of this film thinking, okay, that pretty much set out what it was attempting to do. You know, it accomplished what it set out to do. And I thought that the film's direction had a bit more character to it than previous, than direction in previous blockbusters that I've seen. You know, it doesn't feel like a film that's been put out by a studio. It doesn't feel like a film that's been really, you know, altered in the edit and has no character to it. You know, the film does have some character to it in its direction, the way Ruben Fleischer moves the camera in certain sequences, the way that the film's got this energy to it. You can tell that this is from the same person who directed The First Now You See Me, and I did like that about it. And there were some enjoyable sequences in the film. I didn't think it was unbearable or unwatchable to watch, not at all. There was one sequence when you see all of our characters in a room together pulling magic tricks on one another, and I actually quite liked that. And there was, again, something, as I've already said, in watching these characters back together in the same room. I do like watching Jesse Eisenberg and Woody Harrelson in the same room together in these films, whether it's the Now You See Me films or in the Zombieland films, because they're also in those as well together. And, you know, there's a chalk and cheese relationship between those two, and I think that's in this film, not nearly as much as I would have liked it to be, but there is something in watching these actors together on screen. And as somebody who liked The First Now You See Me, I was like, oh yeah, the Four Horsemen are back. The original Four Horsemen, because Isaac Fisher wasn't in the second Now You See Me, so the original Four Horsemen are back, and I like that. And there's some nice cameos. I say cameos, actually, they're not really cameos, but some nice surprise appearances from other stars in the franchise along the way. And again, I didn't think it was terrible. I didn't even think it was that bad. Like I said, it accomplished what it set out to do. But for me, when I was watching this film, I couldn't escape the feeling that I think I've aged out of this franchise. I was watching this thinking, you know what? If I was like 11 or 12 years old, I reckon I'd love this movie. I reckon I'd be eating it up, scene to scene to scene, and then get to the end, when you get to the reveal and go, oh yeah, that's brilliant. I reckon I would have loved this movie if I was at a much younger age. But I'm not. I have grown up quite a bit since I saw The First Now You See Me for the first time, and I was watching this film thinking, I don't really care about what's going on anymore. And the film's not made me care at all. But there was nothing in this film that made me go, okay, that is something I didn't expect to get from this film. It's pretty much, again, what you expect it to be. And I went into the film hoping to have a good, entertaining, sort of popcorn, blockbuster, fun-filled time. And I didn't really get that, but I think I didn't get that because these films are no longer aimed at me anymore. You know, this kind of feels like a Ocean's movie made for kids, you know, an Ocean's movie made, maybe not for kids actually, but an Ocean's movie made for a younger audience, and that happens to include magicians. And again, I can see people who are much younger age absolutely loving this film, but I was watching, I was thinking, okay, there are straight up moments in this film, not moments actually, there's straight up sequences in this film that make no sense. That makes zero sense. There are a lot of scenes where all our main characters, and there's like 10 main characters in this film, by the way. There are a lot of sequences in this film where our 10 main characters are sat in a room together or stood in a room together explaining the plot to one another. And you get to the end of this film, and the big twist at the end, I didn't see coming because I thought it was so ridiculous. Like, I got to the end of this film and I went, what? Well, I said that in my head, I didn't go out loud because, you know, I wanted to respect cinema etiquette. But I did get to the end of this film and I thought, what? What are we doing here? That makes no sense. What? That's what we're going for the end of this film. And I remember getting to the end of the first night and me thinking, okay, that was actually, I didn't see that coming, and I think that kind of works in the context of this film. No, the ending of this film, I was like, no, I don't buy that at all. And then the film, when you get after the big twist towards the end of the film, it carries on for like another 5 minutes, and those 5 minutes are some of the most cringe-worthy cinema that I've seen for quite a bit of time, and my toes were curling in the last 5 minutes of the film. I was like, oh no, please end the film already, this is so bad, how are the actors keeping a straight face when reading the script to the end in the last scene of this film? It doesn't work. And Rosamund Pike, who I do think is a really solid actress, is kind of rubbish in this film. I don't know what accent she's doing to start off with, and her accent changes. I'm sure this isn't just me. You know, other people must have felt that who've watched this film. Accent changes in like scene to scene to scene, and she's not that threatening either. She's not a good villain. You know, the whole thing about a good villain in a good movie is that you understand where they're coming from. You don't necessarily agree with how they're going about it, but you understand why these villains have their motives. But the thing about Rosamund Pike in this film is that she's just a rich, greedy billionaire. And it's like, you know, just look in the world right now, you got quite a lot of them, so I didn't really need to watch one in this film either. You know, I went into this film to escape reality. That's why I go to a film like this, just to escape the reality going on in the outside world. Escapism is one of the best forms of, well, anything in my opinion. But I didn't get that because Rosamund Pike reminded me of quite a few people that we see a lot of in the news right now, without going into specifics. So yes, I didn't think Rosamund Pike was particularly good in the film, and that's unfortunate to say because I want to be surprised by her, but she shows up in this film, she's doing this weird accent. I was like, okay, hopefully she's putting that accent on for this first scene, and actually she's going to reveal that she is just doing her normal British accent. But no. She carries that accent on throughout the rest of the film, and I didn't think she was a good villain, and yeah, I didn't really get the point of her either. I mean, I got the point of her character, but at the same time I didn't, if you really follow me. Like, I don't know. And that's kind of how I feel about the film. I just didn't really get the point of it. There was no moment in the film I was like, oh, I understand why you've made another Now You See Me film. And that might sound a bit silly to say, because the Now You See Me franchise isn't one of those franchises which people talk about loads. I mean, the funny thing is, the first two Now You See Me films made like $300 million plus at the global box office, which is a hell of a lot of money. And I reckon this one will probably do the same numbers. But it's funny when you think about it, like, nobody really talks about these franchises, and I just didn't really get it. And again, that thought kept coming back to me. Have I grown out of this franchise? You know what? I think I may have. And so, when the next one comes out, because apparently they've already announced it's going to be a Now You See Me 4, I will probably not watch it. Watch me now on this channel. Couple years time, 2 or 3 years time when the next one comes out, I'll be reviewing on this channel. Almost definitely. But I'm in no hurry. And I have no need to watch the next Now You See Me. Because I was watching this film thinking, really? Is this the best we could come up with? Okay. It has its moments. I'm not saying it's terrible. And you know what? If you're a fan of the first two films, if you've watched them recently and you really enjoyed those first two Now You See Me films, you'll probably enjoy this one. But, again, I just kind of felt like I've aged out of this franchise. That thought kept coming back to me as I was watching this film. I just don't think I'm the target audience anymore. And that's totally fine with me. It's a little bit disappointing, but you know what? I enjoyed the first Now You See Me film when I watched it like 10 years ago now. And I'm happy I enjoyed the first one. Just a bit sad that I didn't enjoy this one that much. But you know, it has its moments. And it's not one of the worst blockbusters that I've seen over the past good couple of years. In fact, I think this has a little bit more to it than some of the other blockbusters that I've seen. So I will give the film that. I don't think I'll remember much about it in about a week's time, in all honesty. And so, all in all, I'm going to say that Now You See Me, Now You Don't. I'm going to say that, I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. I'm giving it a 5 out of 10 because, again, I'm not the target audience. And this film does have merit. But it also has a lot of problems. And I don't really know what this film was trying to do to impress me, because all of these Now You See Me films are meant to impress you. They're meant to, trick you. And there were a couple of moments where I didn't see things coming, but then a lot of the film was also predictable to me. And I mean, apart from the final twist in the film, which is just so ridiculous, a lot of the other twists in the film I saw coming just like that. I didn't think were that. I didn't think they pulled the rug from under me, and I like when films do that, when you think you know the twist, but then actually something else happens, and you feel like you've been done over by the film, but in a way that isn't annoying. And I don't think this film manages to do that. And I think it kind of needed to. It needed something more about it. Again, there were some enjoyable moments, and I liked watching these actors on screen because I like watching these actors. I like watching them in the separate films they've been in, and I like watching them together. There's a certain chemistry between these actors, I think there's a reason there's been three Now You See Me films, including this one. But again, what was really the point of this film? I don't know, and honestly, I just couldn't escape the feeling whilst watching this film that I've aged out of this franchise. That this franchise is no longer for me, which is totally fine, but also a little bit disappointing as well. And that is why I'm going to say once more that Now You See Me, Now You Don't is a 5 out of 10 from me. Anyway, guys, that's it for today's podcast. If you have seen Now You See Me, Now You Don't, please let me know your thoughts on it in the comment section below. And as always, thanks for watching or listening to this video. And if you haven't yet, please click down below and like and subscribe on this video. And look forward to many more videos coming very, very soon on this channel. That's what he said. Thank you as always for watching or listening to this video, and I will see you guys again soon. But bye for now. Bye.